So, hi everybody, I'm Rebecca.
Hello. Hey Rebecca.
So we're going to start out today and we're going to talk about the mobile intergroup. What is the intergroup? So the purpose of an intergroup is to facilitate 12-step work. That is our main purpose, is to make it possible. So that's why we do the hotline, so we can get people in touch with each other so they can do 12-step calls. And that's why we do the app, so people can get to meetings, that kind of thing. But so this, the main purpose of our mobile intergroup, it may look like we're selling things, which we are, but our main focus is to be of service, especially to areas that cannot get to us because our service area is so large, and to serve as an outreach tool for intergroups so we can tell people about intergroups so that they can use us. If they don't know we're here, they can't use us. So the first intergroup, what became GSO, was in 1938, and it was a little office in New York. It was actually, Bill set it up for something else, and it ended up becoming like the office that you hear about that responded to all those inquiries for the first big book. And the second one that was actually an intergroup was in 1945 in Cleveland, was the first one like this. So, and they were formed to be of service to the groups so that people would have a phone number to call, an address to write, that kind of thing. Coordinate, at that time they had a lot of traveling salesmen that were passing out big books. It was a place to coordinate all that. So that's how they started. And then the difference between us and New York is we do stuff that the groups can't do. Like the groups are not going to have this much literature. They're not going to be able, each group is not going to maintain the meeting app. You know what, that's a good point. We probably all need to shut off our cell phones. I don't even know where mine is, so it goes off. And so we do stuff that the individual groups can't do, and then my cell phone is recording the video. So that's what we do for the local groups. Like each individual group is not going to maintain the app information. They're not going to each have a hotline. So we do all that stuff, and then GSO does stuff that we as an intergroup don't do. We don't publish books. We don't have these great big huge committees. We don't run a general service conference. So that's the difference between us and them. So just a little bit of information. If people ask about us, then that way we have that information. Also, people, so we're going to go to the Tri-Cities. And up there, previously we weren't of service. So if you get any negative pushback, just be as loving and kind. I feel like we're kind of doing amends, you know, like, we're just going to keep showing, it's like the family members that don't want you around. We just keep showing up, and we're just going to keep doing our thing and keep being of service, and that's on them to end up where they are. But sometimes we also get, you're not part of AA. We absolutely are part of AA. There is the voting structure, the triangle, and that's how you as an AA member go and vote about issues. We are outside of that. But we are still part of AA. The 8th tradition is about us. Bill calls us part of AA. There's a folding board that we have that we put off to the side. And it has a bunch of literature resources, so if anybody's saying anything, let us know. When we are at mobile events, we'll set it out here. When we are going to the roundup, we're going to set it up on the wall behind us. So there's that. So the first thing we're going to go over is how we set up a mobile intergroup table. Oh, actually, here's the board that I am referencing. And they both say the same thing. Actually, put that one over there so I can read it since I'm holding this one up. So it talks about what is intergroup, what do we do, why should I care, how can my group participate, that kind of thing. So that's all right there. And a lot of times, you know, people will come up, and what I want us to do is everyone that comes to a table, I want us to say to them, are you familiar with intergroup? And then we give them like the 2-minute, well, like 3 sentences. Intergroup is the business office for AA for East Tennessee. We do the app, the newsletter, the meeting list, the hotline, all that really important big stuff. And our main purpose is to be of service to you and your group. So if there's anything we can do for you or your group, let us know. So I kind of like to give them that. You will hear me this weekend, or Roundup weekend. I will say that 4 bazillion times. So Okay, so we'll start with setup. So there are 3 different types of literature. There's conference approved, conference supported, and neither. So conference approved literature is like the big book. If we want to change where a comma is in this, it's an act of Congress or the General Service Conference. There is also conference supported, which is like the grapevine. So, which they have complete editorial control over, kind of thing. And then there is neither. That's non-conference approved. But that doesn't mean that we disapprove of it. It just means it's an outside issue. It's none of our business. However, there's some groups that have very strong opinions about what they want to have in their group. Some of them limit it just to conference approved and supported materials. So when we set up the table, we like to set it up that way, and our office is also set up that way. If you look at the top of the bookcases, they all say, this is conference approved, this is conference approved, so that when those people come in to shop, we can direct them easily to what their group wants. So the first thing we do is we set up the big books into 12 and 12s. Now we have 7 different versions of big books and 5 different versions of 12 and 12s. So what I like to do is I like to stack them up in different areas so you can see everything and you can see all the different versions. So we're going to go over, we're just going to kind of start going over everything. So we have the regular big book, soft print big book, mini big book. This is the first 164 pages without the stories in the back. Then in large print, we have the whole one. And this is one people aren't very familiar with, but it's a large print, just the 164. So we send these to the jails a lot because a lot of them can't have glasses. Same thing with the 12 and 12s. We have large print, softback, mini, and hardback. I feel like there's another one. Okay, maybe there's only 4 versions of this one. And as Bill sees it, extremely large print. They redid this, and this is like twice the size as the old large print.
It's like the second version of large print.
Yeah.
It's even larger than it used to be.
Yes.
On steroids.
And then Daily Reflections, they just recently changed this cover within the last year or 2. So a lot of groups still have the gray version of it. Came to Believe and Living Sober, regular and small print. And all this stuff will also have extras underneath the table at the roundup. Other events, if you go to smaller events like a picnic, we aren't going to send you with a ton of this stuff. So most of it you'll be able to set out. But if you do have a bunch of extra, just shove it under the table. We got big, long tablecloths. These up here are history books. Pass It On, AA Comes of Age, and Dr. Bob and the Good Old Timer. Then there's Experience, Strength, and Hope. This is a really cool book. This is all the stories that have been removed from the big book from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd edition. So they removed them every time they did it. So this is great, and it's really cheap. It's like $6. All the other books are around 10, 11, 12 bucks. This one's only 6. And Our Great Responsibility. This is the newest book that's come out from GSO. It's been the first one since I've been working here that I've even seen them come out with that wasn't a grapevine. And this is Bill's General Service Talks from 1951 to 1970. So this is when they did the conference, what he said. So at some point I'm going to read that when my kids grow up. We also are going to have a selection of DVDs. There's some really cool DVDs. This one, it's got like Bill and Lois on his back porch in the garden, talking about like when Ebby came in and sat down at the table with Bill. So the video on it's horrible because it's like from the 70s, but it's fantastic. We also have a handful of CDs that we'll have as well. And these are all produced by GSO. We also have wallet cards. We have 4 different versions of these. This one is anonymity. We have one that's I am responsible. We have another one that has the Serenity Prayer, and I think the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions in it. And then another one that's got some prayers in it. But these are the things that walk away the most. They're only $0.25 a piece, so it's not the end of the world, but I think people see them and they think they're free. If we have pamphlets at the table, those do the same thing as well. People think they're free and they take them. So just keep an eyeball on it. I'm not going to run anybody down, across a parking lot to be like, you need to give me that quarterback, but just keep an eyeball on it. And then we have the grapevine books. Now, at the roundup, we will have a much larger selection of these, but if you go to any smaller events, I like to stick them this way so that people can just kind of look through them and see, and it doesn't take up as much space. If you're not familiar with Grapevine, Grapevine is the magazine of AA, and twice a year, once around the General Service Conference and once in the fall, they produce a new book. And this last year they produced One Big Tent for atheists and agnostics, and they produced maybe One Big Tent in Spanish. I can't remember what it was, but they did a Spanish one. So, but what these are is these are collections of stories that have been submitted to the Grapevine on specific topics. So we have a bunch of different topics. We have AA in the military, beginner's book. They have a daily quote book, which is kind of a nice alternative to the daily reflections if your group is sick of reading the same stuff every year. Spiritual awakenings, young and sober, sober and out. And then there's also language of the heart, which is some books from Bill W. So, and this is the end. Well, actually, I should say, so in some cases we have hard and soft back covers. They'll be in the square as two different listings because they have two different barcodes at the bottom. But like if you have to hand ring it in, they both ring up as the same price. But always just try and use the barcode so we can, because that's not always true. It's true for 2 books. It's true for 24 hours a day and Language of the Heart. It is not true for the big books. So try and make sure you're just using the barcode. So here's the end of the conference approved and conference supported material. And as you can see, we kind of have the drunk junk in the middle between it and the Hazelton material so that groups can see specifically this is what your group wants. So now we're going to go through the junk. So there's some stuff that we produce in our office. We have bookmarks, and usually we'll have these laid out on the table, but we were kind of running out of room today. I like to leave them in the rubber bands. There are 8 different versions of them. If we don't, they end up scattered everywhere. And then that's what, it's also easier for people to be like, oh, there's 8 different ones. If they're scattered everywhere, they think they're all the same thing. So we also have, and those are $0.25 a piece with tax. These are $0.25 a piece, the Beanie in a Pocket are $0.25 a piece, and the stickers are $1 even, because those move and people will come up and just give you, and that way you're not having to make all this little change for them. So, but I do think if you ring in like 4 of these, it comes up to $1 and a penny. So just take $1 and move on. AA meeting in a pocket. This is everything you need to have a meeting in your pocket. It's 25 cents. It's got a bunch of prayers in it. It's got the steps, traditions, all the traditional readings in it. They're fantastic. These go to the jail a lot. So we produce these with and without staples. So, but we will try and send the stapled ones with you for the mobile intergroup. But if you get some that are unstapled, you'll know why. We also have a handful of t-shirts for the roundup. We are going to sell these, and when we're done with these, we won't have them again. They didn't, we thought they were going to do better than they did, and we don't want to have AA money tied up in into stuff that's just going to sit here. That's another thing. We are stewards of AA's money, so we try and be as absolutely responsible as we can with this kind of stuff. Then there's stickers. I think we have I only put a handful of them out here today. I think we have like 10 different stickers. Everybody's got a barcode on the back of it. They're all, no matter what size, what color, they're all $1 a piece. Stuff like that we try to make as simple as possible. Now for the roundup, we're gonna have a lot of new merchandise. And so we're gonna try and put a barcode on everything. So all you have to do is barcode stuff. Book covers. We have a ton of book covers in stock right now. We have bunches of different colors. We got a lot of requests at the last event we did for large print ones and pocket ones. So we have a handful of those to take to the roundup with us. But then we also have tons of other, mostly double book covers. There are some that are just for the big book, but the majority of them fit a big book and a 12 and 12 hardback. There are some that have the Serenity Prayer on them. There are some that have Bill and Bob, and I think the Third Step Prayer on them. There are some that are just plain. So just let them look around and see which ones they like the best. We always like to have a section in front of the register of free stuff, so we can say to people, hey, does your group have the newsletter? You can get the newsletter in email for free every month. You just have to go to our website and sign up for it. And it's got everything that people send to us. It's got meeting minutes in it. It's got flyers. If they've sent it to us and it makes the deadline, we'll publish it. So, and then the meeting list. And we have 2 meeting lists. We have East Tennessee and then we have Knoxville. If we are in Knox County, we'll just send the Knoxville one because it's 1/4 of the thing, and people just pull that page out and throw the rest of it away, and it was a printing issue. So, but we'll send the appropriate one for whatever mobile intergroup you're doing. We also have lots of business cards. These are printed with a name and phone number lines on the back. I like to give these out to people and say, take them back to your home group. Put the new names and phone numbers on it, because you know what? Somebody might not call you and me at 3 o'clock in the morning, but they might call the hotline. And those people have signed up to be called at 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's a nice tool. And we order bunches of those and we give them away. Those are free if they want to take the whole stack. These, I try and leave. When we leave, if they will take them there and somebody will take them back to their home group, send them. So then we also are going to have bronze medallions with us. If you've ever been in our intergroup office, we have that little fish lure thing. I don't know what you call it. We'll probably take that whole thing with us to the roundup just so we have it. But for mobile intergroup events that are smaller, I like to just leave a couple out here so people know we have them. We also take a bag each or 2 of the plastic chips. And again, I just like to put a handful out there so people know that we have them for sale if they need them. For those, they will be labeled like this, and usually we'll do 1 through 10, 11 through 20, usually up to 35 is what we take with us on mobile events. But that way, if you don't have to unpack the whole thing, you can just pull out the bag and be like, oh, okay, so here's 10 through 20 and rifle through it. They'll have barcodes on them that say what year they are, so you don't have to know Roman numerals. So that's how those will come, and a lot of times I'll leave all that stuff under the table as well. We will also have a contribution jar that we will send with you. So if people want to know how they can contribute. And another thing is we don't say donations. These aren't donations. They're not donating to us. They're contributing because we all play our part in the 7th tradition. So that's just one of those things we like to make sure that we're saying. And then jewelry. We have little necklaces, big necklaces, dog tags, and we'll kind of have some way for you to set all that up. We might send this tray with you so you have everything. Again, I like to display them and then kind of have these in the back so that when people come up, I can just give them this and they don't have to pick the one off the display. And that way it's barcoded and it's easy. Sorry. We also have, we carry a lot of these. This is the whole Serenity Prayer on here. I don't like the long version. I don't know how they fit it on there, but they did. And these you can wear as a ring or as a necklace. We also have, for the roundup, we're going to have a ton of little medallions of all different shapes and sizes. We got a consignment from one of our vendors. And so I'm not sure exactly. It's coming in the mail. It should be here tomorrow, but we're just going to try and put barcodes on it and roll from there. So just know we'll have a bunch of that and we'll display it as best we can. The triplate and crystallized triplate medallions. Now the difference between a triplate and a crystallized triplate is the bedazzling. If it has a crystal on it of any kind, it's crystallized. Again, we'll try and have the barcode so you don't have to know that. You can just ring it in, but that is the difference between the two. At the roundup, we will have a ton of these, and what she sends is, she sends like it's like a plastic holder, and they're all hot glued in there, so they can just look at it. We'll have the extras behind us, and they'll say, I want this purple one, but I need it in a 4-year, and we'll reach back and grab it and give it to them. Do not take any of them out of the hot glue binder thing. But so we'll have a bunch of those, and that keeps it really organized. We are going to have, we'll have 2 of these racks set up. Usually if you're just doing a regular mobile intergroup event, we'll only have 1 of these. But for this event, we'll have 2. We also have magnets. One thing I'd like to note about the magnets is we have some of these that look a lot like the stickers. And the price difference is these are $2.50 versus the stickers are $1. So just make sure. And the way you can tell is that the magnet is black on the back and the sticker's white. So just pay attention to that. I mean, if you're scanning barcodes, it shouldn't be an issue. But sometimes you have to bring it in without the barcode. So we have a bunch of different jewelry that she's sending us a consignment of. That way they can try them on. I think what she said she's going to do is send us a ring sizer so they can just put it on. And then we'll have extras in the back, and then we just pull out the appropriate size. Lapel pins. We have a variety of lapel pins, circles, triangles, guardian angels. They sent us a free one time that just says 15 on it. So if they want those in other years, we have to order them, but we can get them. So there's a bunch of different ones. Then we also have these in little packets, and we'll put barcodes on these. They're not barcoded at the moment, but these are State of Tennessee pins, and they have a circle triangle in the middle. Nashville Intergroup office bought them for International. So a lot of people like to swap pins at International, so if that's your thing, we have them. So then we have key fobs. Okay, so for the key fobs, I always suggest people try them first. However, there's one key fob, I guess just tell them don't force it in there. There's one that looks like it's a Star Trek key fob, and you don't know how many we have shoved in there and then had to pull out with pliers and ruined either the key fob or the medallion in it. So tell them to try it in there, make sure there's fits, because some of them do, some of them don't, but be gentle with it, don't force it. Then we also are going to have coffee cups. We have 3 different coffee cups we're going to have for the roundup. At Christmas time, we'll have a bunch more of these. They did really great this last year. So we'll have more of those in the office. But we have the Serenity Prayer. Oh, this one actually isn't a Serenity Prayer. It looks just like this, but it has a Serenity Prayer on it. This must be one of the ones left over from Christmas. Then we have the Promises, and we have Acceptance. And again, these we have boxes and boxes that we will have stored behind us, and they'll say which one's which. So you can just pull it out of the box and give it to them all boxed up, ready to go. And these are all barcoded on the outside and the outside of the box and on the bottom of the coffee mug. So no matter what, they're always going to have a barcode on them. So, okay, now we're going to get into the other literature that is non-conference approved. This book is really cool. I thought we were going to have some more of them for the roundup, but we're not. Unless we order some more stuff in the meantime, but we're kind of ordered out at the moment. But this is like a coffee table photo book of the original manuscript. This is the manuscript they just had the big lawsuit over. So what they've done is they sent 100 copies of the manuscript to the first 100, or the first however, I don't know. They sent 100 copies out of the manuscript. And then they got everybody's changes back. They went through and they made all the changes in the big book. So it is really cool. Some pages have a bunch of different, like red and black, so you can tell that they've been gone through at different times. We did a ladies' book study, and when Bill and Ebby are sitting at the kitchen table, and Ebby says, "Why don't you choose your own conception of God?" In this version, it's not there. It's like 8 pages later. So, that sparked a whole conversation with our ladies group about how did they write the big book? Is that actually how it happened? Are they weaving a story? So it's a very, very interesting stuff that can spark some really interesting conversations. So this is a good present item. It is $40 though. But if you order it straight from Hazelton or on Amazon, it's like $65. Yeah. So these are another really cool item. These are the 12 and 12 dictionary and the big book dictionary. And these both come in small and large print. The little one is $4. The big one is $8. These are really cool because these are the definitions from 1936. So things like trudge. Back then meant walk with a purpose. Now it means uphill both ways in the snow. So it's very interesting when you're going through and reading the big book for the first time with the sponsee to have this nearby. Because especially, I've even found like there's words I think I know. And then I go look them up and the meaning is just a little bit different. So these are fantastic resources to have around. Then we have the Hazelton books. So we have Drop the Rock, The Ripple Effect, A New Pair of Glasses by Chuck C. That one's not Hazelton, but we stick it over here because it's the only one that we get by itself. We have these four are daily readers. So we have 24 hours a day, hardback and softback. They both bring in at the same price. At one point, they were both the same price from Hazelton, so we got them so people could pick which one they like. Touchstones is a daily reader for men. A Day at a Time is a daily reader, and there's another one called Each Day a New Beginning, and that's a daily reader for ladies. Then the last two we're going to talk about are Stools and Bottles and the Little Red Book. Now, forgive me, my history is a little bit off, but from my understanding, these two were both AA literature, and then at some point we had to divert some money so that we could print something else. I want to think the 12 and 12, so Hazelton bought them. So these, I feel like a lot of old-timer men especially love these, and I feel like one talks about the steps, and one talks about the traditions, and they're very, very cool books. So that is what we have for the setup.
Are there prices on the table at all, or what people are asking?
So, Greg, would you grab that? Yes, that there. So we will try and have these set up, and then also we will try and have everything barcoded as well. So it's very clear. All the books will be priced on the back. As you turn them over, there'll be a price tag sticker on them. And the Hazelden ones, they're at a much higher price than what we charge for them, so we put the price right over their price. So, but that's where people are trained to look for prices.
The barcodes all have not only the barcode but a price on them. Is that the way it is?
No.
Do you understand my question?
Yes. So the GSO books will have just a barcode, and we are going to put a price tag right here next to it. Whereas the books that already come with a price on them, we're going to put the price tag over them so there's no discrepancy. It's ours. I mean, like, that it's what price it is.
And like the bar tags on the necklaces don't have the price on the bar tag, though.
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do.
Yes, we have tried to put the actual price on each item. And a lot of these are going to end up being, like the ones that we're going to consign, I think they're just going to say, like, this one's a $15 pendant. Because there's going to be, like, 6 $15 pendants. And that way we don't have to have each one. Because I think some of them she's only sending us, like, 2 of each one. So that way, these are just the $15 pendants. These are 10. There's going to be some other stuff that we'll just have in bowls. Like, there's some stones that she sends us, little glass stones that say things like serenity on them, peace. They're like $3, so we'll probably have those in some kind of something with a price behind it. So expect to see a lot of those little, these plexiglass things. We're going to go to Dollar Tree and clear them out. So, okay. Oh, please be gentle and clean. Again, we are stewards of AA's money. Please do not eat a chili dog and then touch a book. Wash your hands first. We pack everything in these big plastic bins so that they're protected. These are our books. So we have very rarely had to damage them out because of damage, but we try to do the best we can to keep them whole.
The stewards of A's money.
Yes.
Can you just explain that a little bit? Because we get money from the groups, just like.
Yes. So the money that we get, the income that comes into Intergroup, comes from you and your groups. Mm-hmm. So we need to be responsible for it and be spending it responsibly, because it's not just our money. Yeah, we're not just,
So you get money from the groups and then also the contributions.
Yes. And honestly, I want to be able, like we try and operate everything as transparent as possible. If somebody wants to know where our money goes, they have any questions about our money, I will answer those as honestly as possible. Well, I'll answer them honestly, and there's no as possible. Like, yeah. I will give you a printout. You can come sit down and look at the books with me, and I'll explain what's what. I feel like, and I think about this every time I make a purchase for our office. If I can't look an AA member in the face and say, this is why we bought this and this is why we spend money on it, I probably shouldn't be spending that money on it. So that's when I say we're stewards of AA's money. So we just try and protect it as much as we can and always do the right thing,
So you would make us a kind of a small explanation or when somebody's being a smart aleck and going, what do you do with this money?
A board.
That's what the boards are for. But yeah, no, I don't really have one of those. But they can always ask me.
Well, yeah.
I'll be there for them. I mean, they can call the office whenever they want. They, you know, we try to be completely open book. If we're hiding something, there's an issue. Yeah. A lot. If they get real snotty with me, my response is, well, the intergroup meeting is on the third Monday of the month at 6:30 at the intergroup office. Because I've had people that just won't give up. You know how we get sometimes.
That's why I was trying to figure out if I'm behind the desk, if I
Yes.
could do something precise instead of going, well, wait, you have to ask her.
Yeah, and then also there's a flyer that I take with us everywhere. It's called Where Money and Spirituality Mix. I will send a ton of these with you if you do a smaller event. We'll have a ton of them with us at the roundup. But this is what GSO says we should do with our money, because it's the thing we fight about the most. So it says what your individual group should do with their money, what your intergroup should do with their money, why does the GSO have a prudent reserve, all that kind of stuff. So, and a lot of this stuff that's in here, we try to go by. Like, GSO has a dollar amount max, we try and do that too. So anything that it says for them is what our answer should be. So these, you'll have tons of these in your free section. Okay. So, we're gonna talk about the square last, just because it's a bit of a beast. The logbook. We have a logbook, and you have a spiral. It's a spiral logbook from Walmart. And so what we do is we just keep a list of anything you have a question about. If you're like, hey, how do we, like, that's how a lot of times the service workers in the office will notify me there's an issue. Hey, the barcode on this book isn't reading. So I'll go in and I'll fix whatever the issue is. Yeah, it's just a spiral notebook. But we keep them back here for those kind of questions too. Make sure there'll probably be one notebook for the whole booth because it's not something we use a ton of. But especially when there's a lot of people, just write down your name so I know who to go back to and address whatever the issue is. And then I also know that I need to address the issue with everybody as well. Because if you don't know, it's very likely that everybody else doesn't know either.
So just like in the office, you're gonna say like Trent here.
Yes.
You want us all just to sign in? Is that what you're saying?
No, just if you have issues.
Oh, okay.
And then also if people special order things. So the way that we're going to do special orders for smaller events is a little bit different than we do it for the roundup. For smaller events, take their name, their phone number, what they want. I'll call them back on Monday morning and I'll give them the information. It usually takes about a couple of weeks for stuff to come in. I try and be really fair on the postage. If they're like, I need it tomorrow and we're not ordering anything, I'll be like, okay, well the postage is probably going to be like $4. And they just pay the postage. They're not paying anything extra. We do round up to the next dollar though, so if it's $3.50, we'll charge you $4, just because with the square, it's easier to do that, and we're paying for gas to go to the post office and envelopes and stuff like that. So that's all we're gonna do for that. But for the roundup, we wanna write down who it is, what they want specifically, and we'll have lots of catalogs around so you can see specifically that this one's called a black tri-plate with, well, I don't know what those orange ones are called, with turquoise bedazzles on it, and they want it 15-year. We need their name, address, and phone number, and they need to prepay for it. And they're gonna pay $4 shipping per one, just because they're probably all gonna get drop shipped straight to them. I'll probably send the lady a list, like, can you send this one to this address and this, so that they get them quicker. But at this event last year, we had a ton of people that came up and wanted to order stuff, and then I called them. We ordered it, and then we got to the office, and they wouldn't pay for it. They wouldn't call us back, like about half of the stuff, which most of it wasn't a big deal. I don't think there's anything we still have from that because most of it moved, but at the same time, it's just too much trouble for us. Oh, I just realized there's one thing I did forget to talk about. Money clips. They come with they do not come with this in them, and you need one of those little eyeglass, to try it in there. And so we will have one of those there that they can try it in. But just so everyone knows, that is not included. And also, this one's not very tight since it's moving, but they get tight and they're in there. So they may send us some other money clips with one of the consignments as well. Sorry, I just noticed that. Okay. If anybody has any questions, write those questions down. Tell them, you know, they can always call me. They can email me. My email address is on the business cards. Like, we try to be completely open book. So email is the best way to get a hold of me because I'm on that 24/7. If it's a business thing, I won't get back to you until I come back into the office. But if it's a, hey, I need to be 12-stepped right now, then we'll take care of it. But I do see it.
Can
I
you
just,
call the hotline if that's what needs to happen?
well, a lot of times I'll call whoever's working the hotline and be like, hey, this guy called, and this guy emailed, and he needs to be 12-step. Can you take care of it? Just because I'm not technically on the clock for those, so I just let them handle it. Money tally. So again, the roundup money is going to be different because what we'll have is we'll have a station for everybody. You'll have, we're going to try and put these square stickers so people can see that we're taking cards because a lot of times that's a big question. We will have the square set up, and I'll really get into this here in a minute. Okay. He's been charging, but he hasn't been turned on, so let's do that. We will have lock boxes, and we'll just make sure that we don't have like a cash out procedure for the roundup, just because there's too many of us, and it sounds horrible. We need to come up with something. Geez. So I'm not sure exactly what we'll do with the roundup, but I think we do need to come up with something. So we'll have 4 of these little stations that have we'll have 5. We'll have the little square terminal that we use in the office, and that's the only one that prints out a receipt. So if they need a printed receipt, they can cash out at any of them, but we need to get whoever has that one to print them a receipt. If you were doing any other mobile intergroup event, you will not have the ability to print a receipt. So at the end of the checkout process, it asks if you want to email or text them one, and that's what you'll have to do for a mobile intergroup. Other events like picnics and stuff. Then we'll have the barcode reader for all of these. So you just have to point and click that, and then a square card reader that's plugged in to everybody.
That's just a swipe, that's not
That's
the
just a
chip.
swipe. Yes.
You got a different one for the chip.
We
That's
do.
the one that prints the receipt?
Well, that one has one, and then there's also a little one that's about this big that we will have. I didn't pull it out this time, but that we'll have at the roundup for chip cards. You stick it in there, and that one as well. But this one does just read them. So, or you can also manually, if something's going wrong, you can also manually stick it in. But for the roundup, Greg and I will be there the whole time. So if there's an issue with connectivity, you can't get on the internet, we'll be able to take care of that. If anybody has a Wi-Fi hotspot they want us to let us borrow for that weekend, that would be amazing. And also, if anybody is going to the roundup that has an SUV or a covered cab that wouldn't mind taking a load of books for us, because I don't think we're going to be able to fit everything in my car.
I'll do whatever I need to do.
Awesome.
Just deal with it and we'll move on to everything.
If you're staying at the hotel, you should get a Wi-Fi.
Well, but we don't, that's another thing. So when you go and do any of these events, we're going to teach you how to tether it to your cell phone.
Sure.
Because you don't want to go through a public Wi-Fi connection where we're running all these credit cards. It's a security issue. So, another thing I want to show you is we are working on a YouTube channel.
Yes.
All the videos are like this. You won't see anybody's head. They're all cut off. All you're going to hear is my voice and see whatever we're looking at. But this video will be on there as soon as we can get it uploaded. You just have to search East Tennessee Intergroup. Nothing is hashtagged, so I can't imagine there's going to be a ton of people that are checking these out that aren't us. But so there's stuff like this, and there's a bunch of these little. Let's see, this one's the shortest one. Oh, but that one you guys don't need. So hang on.
Have you already chosen that YouTube name?
Yes, we just
Okay,
did
so-
East Tennessee Intergroup
Okay.
because we felt like it. I mean, I feel like that's kind of nondescript. So here's one on how to apply discount. You can pause it.
Hi, this video is how to discount an order.